People love horror stories. Ghosts, gore, and the macabre make your pulse race and your heart pound. You're terrified, but at the same time, strangely enough, you like it. Endorphins and dopamine are flooding your brain. You're basically an adrenaline junkie at this point. But only because you're safe. And no monsters will attack you at home while watching Netflix at night. We, however, as urban explorers, often get asked by viewers if we aren't afraid, if we aren't scared of ghosts, corpses, or anything that could attack us in these abandoned places. Well, you clearly have heard too many horror stories. And yet, sometimes we come across a sight that sends a cold shiver down our backs. Mostly, these houses look plain from the outside. It's nothing special at first glance. But by venturing inside, we make creepy discoveries and find out the darkest stories. Let's enter such a house together in the third and final installment of this mini-series. Because people love horror stories, and this is one. But also, it's not. If you're interested in exploring abandoned places, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications to never miss any of our trips. Hier ist es schon. The gate was left open, and everything is overgrown with dry plants. This has been the neighborhood eyesore for a long time.
Schon komplett von der Natur zurückerobert.
Locals avoid this place. Either they don't care at all, or they have heard bad stories. The decaying villa stretches on several floors. Perhaps it has a basement too, but we can't see an entrance among all the brush and undergrowth that has been flourishing undisturbed for years.
Kannst du es erkennen? Nee. Stockdunkel. Ein Gecko.
Into the dark. At this point, we don't know anything about this place's story. But this is about to change. Right, the first room we enter can hardly be topped in strangeness. Odd devices everywhere. Old drugs just next to them. But it's the weird tableaus that are really upsetting. The perfect setting for an Italian horror story. It's something very close to that actually. No, it's not a mad scientist's lab. It's a vintage dental clinic. In general, people don't really like to visit the dentist, and usually avoid it if possible. Seeing these terrifying images all over the walls probably didn't make it any easier for the patients when they entered this doctor's office back in the day. There's a bit of rust here and there, but overall the equipment is still in a good shape, even after decades of being left to deteriorate. This is a true gem, a time capsule that offers an in-depth look at how dentists were working in the 60s and 70s. It's a curious atmosphere, but maybe not quite the horror you've expected. It is creepy somehow, but it's just a dentist, right? Well, you haven't heard the story of the house yet. Let's look around to see what else there is to discover.
Das hier war auf jeden Fall der Warteraum, denke ich. Entweder die Patienten sind von da gekommen oder von da und dann direkt hier in die Praxis rein. Also so wie ich das sehe, ist es eine zweistöckige Villa und hier im Erdgeschoss ist auf jeden Fall der Praxisbereich. Aber der Arzt, der muss auch irgendwo gelebt haben, wahrscheinlich da oben. Das ist die Tür, die den Arbeitsbereich von dem Privatbereich trennt, denke ich mal. Und hier ist auf jeden Fall schon alles voller Taubenkacke.
This is what remains of a once splendid lounge area. On the same floor we also find the master bedroom, a kitchen, a bath, and some other rather uninteresting chambers. All of them, however, are in a state of complete forlornness. A lot was stolen. Also, pigeons have seen the smashed-in windows as some kind of invitation to poop all over the place. It's basically everywhere. Despite the poop, we are happy to find some of the former owner's legacy is still here. Because from personal items, you can learn a lot about people.
Im Fachbuch. Okay. Okay. Cooles Lesezeichen.
In this formerly carefully sorted collection, we discover all sorts of specialized literature, but also magazines about various topics in different languages. All of them dating back to a bygone era.
Diese Bücher und Zeitschriften hier, die sind alle aus den 60er oder 70er Jahren. Und natürlich, zu dem Zeitpunkt gab es auch noch die UdSSR, sieht man hier auch auf den ganzen Karten, die wir hier finden. Überall steht noch UdSSR drauf. Und derjenige, der hier gewohnt hat, hat offenbar die National Geographic abonniert. Also Er hat gefühlt jede einzelne Ausgabe. Aus dem Juli 1957 ist diese Ausgabe.
Die liegen hier auch überall verstreut in den Räumen. Also wir haben jetzt locker 30, 40 Exemplare gefunden. Alles noch analoge Fotografie. Überleg mal, von wann ist die 57?
1957.
Wie krass das damals gewesen sein muss, als man überhaupt noch kein Internet und nichts hatte. Und das so wirklich richtig exotische Einblicke sind in andere Länder und Kulturen.
Ja.
Irgendwelche Abenteuer. Von wann ist die?
August 1957.
Das Jahr.
Der Nachfolger.
Kachinas, die maskierten Tänzer des Südwesten. El Morro, Geschichte in Stein.
Also dafür, dass das 70 Jahre alt ist, dieses Magazin, ist die Qualität echt noch überragend. Ist noch nicht auseinandergefallen, noch nicht wirklich. Hält noch alles zusammen, die Bilder sehen noch gut aus.
Das ist echt krass, weil die liegen hier, wie gesagt, überall auf dem Boden rum. Alle Fensterfronten sind zerschlagen. Normalerweise würde man erwarten, auch wie die restliche Bude aussieht, voller Taubenkot und Schimmel.
Ja.
Da haben wir das Problem. Kajaken und Schwert.
Das ist auf jeden Fall eine echt geile Aussicht hier. Ziemlich extravagante Lage. Man kann es kaum noch erkennen, aber hier zwischen den ganzen Bäumen und dem Gestrüpp sind noch jede Menge Strukturen. Also der Garten, der ist eigentlich ziemlich groß, aber da kommt man jetzt nicht mehr durch. Ich habe schon versucht, aber da sind überall Dornen.
This manor has been abandoned for so long that even the locals can't remember its story anymore. Left behind documents, bills and magazines indicate that the site was abandoned in the mid or late 70s. It probably took a few more decades before the first intruders disturbed the deep slumber. Maybe because the villa was protected for a while. On site we noted names and dates for proper research back home. It turned out that the villa story is connected to public characters with disturbing fates. A Sardinian statesman originally built the mansion in the middle of the 20th century. After his unexpected death, shortly after, the property was then handed over to a wealthy businessman. But this one later vanished without a trace and is still missing today. Most likely the work of mobster hijackers, according to the current opinion. So yeah, this place kind of seems cursed. But it's highly unlikely that any of these men ever lived here. For a start, none of them was a practicing dentist. So they just owned the place, and we can only speculate about the actual residents at this point. What is your guess? Today, the ownership situation is nebulous. But it seems that nobody wants to live here anyway. This villa has been vacant much longer than it was even inhabited. Well, people just love a good horror story. But they don't like to be part of one. Eerie remains and the former holders' untimely deaths made this an unattractive piece of real estate. Only curious explorers and ghost hunters are interested in it today. We often get asked if we aren't afraid when we explore these places all by ourselves, and sometimes even staying there overnight. But really, there's nothing to be afraid of if you're just curious.
Let's go.
Hello viewers, how are you doing this evening?
Probably better than we are.
No, we're doing amazing. There is no getting better than this.
Our journey to Sardinia in June was just a prelude to this year's Italy's road trip. For the following 2 weeks, we traveled the mainland to track down more hidden locations and untold stories. Here's a foretaste of what is to come to this channel in 2022 as part of Abandoned Italy Season 3. This was the last episode of our Sardinia mini-series. We have located so many more interesting abandoned sites on the island, so we could easily do another trip. But this depends on if you want to see more of Sardinia's hidden structures. Let us know in the comments. See you again in the next video. Stay curious and keep exploring.